Warmest welcome, my friends. It is a Saturday. And today, what are we going to be talking about? Of course, we just need to look at how I'm actually dressed up. It is that month, it's a Heritage Month. We're going to be talking about our rich cultures. We're going to be talking about our diverse cultures. We're going to be talking about heritage. How can I actually get to it all by myself? Of course, I decided I'm actually going to have some guests with me today that are going to tell us, and we are actually going to hear from them as to where is the link, is there a connection, what do we think? And as we are sitting there, you, of course, are going to be saying, oh, yes, we think it is. Oh, no, guys, I don't think it is. Whatever it is that is in your mind, we're going to be talking about it today. And I have with me, right next to me, in fact, beautiful friend of mine, and that is none other than Angie the Queen. And she's going to tell us and take us through this whole cultural diversity and its richness and our Heritage Month and what it means and what does it stand for when it comes to us and our well-being, of course. Angie, warmest welcome.
Thank you.
What do you feel like saying?
Thanks for having me here. Because it's heritage, let me rather say, hey! Because it takes us back to where we are coming from. My name is Angie the Queen. As you mentioned, ndingimfengukazi, umxhosakazi, impondomise, you know, it's where my roots are. I'm coming from Eastern Cape. I'm a proudly Xhosa woman. Today we are celebrating heritage, and thank you for having me here to be part of this beautiful, big thing, heritage.
I cannot wait to actually hear that as you take us through uqabakazi. What is impengu? What is that all about? And you're going to be linking both of them. Let's find out true. It's going to be such an interesting topic. I promise you. Just stay tuned. And remember, what did I say about our culture? Africa, it is so rich. Africa is beautiful. Africa is powerful. Africa is amazing. Such a beautiful lady. And right now, we're going to take you outside our borders. And I'm going to be bringing somebody all the way from, I'm not even going to tell you because not, I want to hear it from him. Now, over to you, Mr. Eric.
Thank you. I'm all the way from Nigeria. My name is Eric. You know, it's such an honor for me to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Eric. And now, the most fascinating question once more that I'm going to be throwing to our guests here is to just to find out, maybe let me start with you, Angie. Tell me something. Can you dig us more and tell us more about our rich culture? And for me, what I'm trying to actually link between the two is what was before and in terms of well-being and what our forefathers used to do, and our grandmothers, by the way, and even our mothers, by the way, what they used to do, how our lifestyle was like for them, and how it is for now. And for me, another thing that I would like to tackle for us is there a gap? You think there's a bridge that we can actually try to walk, to try and reach out to actually make sure that we still do the things that they used to do? Maybe not in that magnitude, and do those things actually link to our well-being and our wellness in general? What do you think?
Let me just unpack and break it down, the heritage, what the heritage means to me.
Yes.
Because for me, it's all about embracing my culture, embracing my roots, because I'm proud of where I'm coming from. I'm proud of who I am. As I said that I'm Xhosa, I'm iqabakazi. Iqabakazi used to be the people that we used to wear imibhaco, as we are wearing today imibhaco. We are taking things back to where they were before. So I'm excited because I love heritage, because it reminds us again where we are, who we are, where we're coming from as Black nation or as Africans. You know, it's a beautiful big day or to celebrate heritage.
We say,
you know, you have started, you know, to keep the energy. Without doing such things, you know, we're reminding people that we are a nation of a song. We're a nation of a rhythm. We're a nation that love to celebrate, you know. We will say in Xhosa, it's a nation of yesingqi, you know, there's that rhythm, you know, with us. So, taking things back to where they were before, I grew up in a village. I always say to people when I relate to heritage that I was not raised by my mother or my grandmother only. I was raised by the entire village or the community where I grew up. I grew up in the Eastern Cape. In Kabaya, my roots are down there, khona. By the way, you look stunning, my queen.
Thank you
from
so much.
We don't say Ikriya in KwaXhosa. We say this is cover, you know. One day we'll come and unpack that. What's the meaning of his cover? But you look stunning, the beautiful, you look nice, you know. So we never have people where they will say, this is my child only. You know, a mother would be your mother, even if it's your neighbor. And they will groom you and they will make sure that you are growing up to be a fine woman. Not because they gave birth to you or they're your biological parents. You know, so I grew up in a community. I think that's one thing that is missing, or that we happen to lose it as we move with time, you know. So if we can maybe take things back where they were before. Yes, I'm proud and I'm happy that I was that girl that would go and fetch water to the river and go to the field to fetch, to collect wood to make food, because those were the things that made us as a family, as a village, as a community to be strong, you know. I don't remember going to hospital because I'm sick, or my mother or my brother or my siblings. I remember going to hospital to take my tooth out only when I was, I think, teenage age, you know. But at that time, there was no one who was sick. There were no grandpas, there were no nothing. We were strong, healthy babies, you know. And the only thing that was in me that we are denying our kids or our children in these days is the way we grew up. You know, those things that made us strong, going to eating right, organic stuff, herbs, being active, going to, I remember I used to walk to school for like 2 hours to school and come back and climb the, you know, the only part that I used to, maybe hate, I can use hate in these days, but at that time it was never a problem, is when you going up the hill, when you're coming back from school with your books, you know, at the back of your, you know. But all those things, they made us strong because we were active, we were physically strong because we were eating right. And things were just nice, as I said, that things were doing. You know, you reminded me earlier on, Vets, when you said that community, things were doing things as a community. I still remember when we want to do a washing, there were no washing machines, but we'll go to the river as a group of young ladies or young virgins. We used to call them intombi virgins, young virgins, to go and do a washing river. And we will go and sing. One thing perhaps that we can do in these days, have that song. Have that song together while we are doing that walk, you know. We're bringing those things one by one, you know, because now they are not there. We sit now, we go, we get in our cars, we jump in our cars, do this, and come back, we sit up in front of the RTVs, we touch our phones, we eat instant food, processed food, we are sick. Today I've got headache. Yes, the past 2 weeks, my boy was constantly coming from school complaining about headache. And to me, I was like, you know what? We're really denying our kids of the way we grew up, because we're strong. We've never been sick. We've never been, you know, in hospital, as I mentioned earlier, because we're eating right, we're exercising, we're doing things that made us strong. So that, for me, it gave me something to think. I like, okay, let me go back the drawing board and check what is my boy not doing right. Okay, number one, I'm dropping them in and out, drop them to school, fetch them. I'm not giving them time to walk to school, and it's only 5 minutes drive. They can walk to school and from school. But we are so protective. Meanwhile, we are killing them. You know, so I think those are the things that we can, one by one, baby step, we can bring them to reach, to bridge the gap, you know, because those are the things that I feel that they faded away as the time moved, you know.
And so many essential topics in there. We know when you speak about the processed foods, once more, that now I daily, like, it's almost like a norm that used to be a luxury. When you think about water, you know, when people now, they think of drinking, they think of juice or anything that is sugary. We used to think about actually water. Now you're touching on this when people used to walk, just the walking. Remember, guys, that is well-being. Walking to make the wood, to actually go get the fire, you know, to get water from the river. And here's another thing that I love, I think, for me, that connects also. I love the sense of community. I'm the biggest believer that anything that is being done by one people with one voice, if you remember going to the rivers then, in a
going
group.
in the groups.
And you know what you do? Now it's about a mental well-being now. You are growing this. There's so much joy and clutter and so much more fun. And the question now remains, what can we do to actually bridge the gap? And for me, that is when I start saying now to our audience sitting there, and I think for us sitting here today, we can start thinking about what communities can we bring together.
Today.
We cannot go to the river anymore, but we can still meet together as a community. In your community where you are sitting, you can still reach out to your neighbor and say, hey, listen, let us go for that walk. If you're sitting there today, you can reach out to your neighbor, your colleague, and say, let's start our small garden at the back of our yard. Start that spinach that we can actually make, and then we can actually do our part in actually going organic rather than avoiding processed foods. And I think I loved when she mentioned about what, when the kids, she realized, as a mother, for me, that's too powerful once more. Speaking from a mom who's coming from who got into this actually industry because of her own daughter. And I remember when she says as a mom, she asked her son, always coming back from school with a headache, and then she started saying, we need to start walking. She realizes that human beings, if you can no longer even take them to school, you need to drop them, pick them up, bring them at home, sitting in the couch, we are actually denying them an opportunity to walk. There's no body movement. Human beings, once more, even on this day, doesn't matter, we are designed to move. That is why our forefathers are so strong physically. But what I love the most I think about my grandma, and I think about my mom as well, how strong she actually was. And I think it was purely based on their lifestyle. Everything comes back to lifestyle, good nutrition, food, community, being active. So everything comes back again. But before we move over, we're going to go back to our next guest. Let's get outside the country now. Let's find out what happens in Nigeria. Where is the link? What was happening then? What is happening now? Do you still agree with me, Edike, to say there is also the connection between what was and what is, and there's a gap that we can actually close together in terms of now the well-being, looking at Heritage Day, really remembering where we come from, who we are, as Africans. What can you tell us about this topic?
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor for me to be here. Nigeria is a culturally diverse country that we have over 250 languages with 36 states.
Wow.
And all various languages, they are very rich in their history and their background. And eating organic, because nowadays there are some food that you get allergic to. In those days, you don't see them because we eat organic. We whatever we put in our mouths, they are very healthy, and you eat those stuff and you just feel good and you feel so strong. They work on your bones and everything. I will chip on the one that Angie said that you walk to school. That was very right, because back in those days we don't even have transport. Like even if there's transport, but we walk to school. Everything has changed. Our forefathers and our grandmoms, those days are so beautiful. We live with love. We live with so much happiness that even if you don't have nothing, but you're still very happy because of the circle you're in, because of the people around you. I love this topic, and I love everything about we Africans. We are proud of ourselves. We are proud of our skin. We are proud of who we are, different cultures, and you can see that.
Wow, just that alone, it makes me feel that for a second or for a moment, I was actually touched, like almost like my feet, they touched themselves in the land of Lagos, actually. I don't even want to say Nigeria, because the country that I know the most, that I'm sure everybody knows, is Lagos. It's almost like my feet just touched Lagos. And right now, I think it is that time that I really would love to know from this amazing woman as to what tips can she actually offer us? And also, looking at our rich culture and its diversity once more, do you think that in terms of our well-being, there is something that is missing that we can actually try and do even today, even though we can actually say endulo, mandulo paya, or back then the thing that we like this that contributed to our well-being that we are no longer doing now. But as we're sitting right here in the audience at home, we can think this is the part that I can actually play towards, making sure that our well-being and part of our heritage is still kept intact. Angie, what have you got to actually share with us in terms of the tips as moms, uncles, aunts, and
personally, it just takes me back to what I was eating as growing up, what I was eating, and make sure that I bring whatever that I was eating, as we said, that we were living using organic stuff, So I always check my fridge. I get worried when there's no veggies there because I grew up eating amabolosa, amaceba, imiqa, imingqusho, those such things that were making me strong. So I always make sure in my own household that I bring those things for my boys. So my tip that I can give to all the parents out there, let's bring all these things that made us to be the people that we are today. Let's bring all those things in our households. Bring the veggies, bring the greens in your check what are how do you do your groceries, because you'll find out, you have junk food more than the veggies, so I had to go back and change and say, okay, no more chips and fizzy and whatever. Let me increase a budget and buy veggies, greens, and check whatever that I'm buying now. I check at the back how much sugar, what's going on, how much carbs, So let's not just throw things and expect a miracle. That's the first one. Secondly, the second thing that I've done in my community is the fact that, remember, we are embracing heritage. Heritage is all about Ubuntu, To me, when we talk about heritage, it's Ubuntu, bringing back the community together and do things collectively as a community, because we are trying to bring everything that has faded away. So in my community, I've started already with my neighbors. I've got old neighbors though. So I had to come to their level.
Which is good.
Which is good. I had to come to their level and say, okay, we're not jogging, we're going to walk and talk, and have like that kind of, okay, as my neighbors, every Tuesday at 6:00, we are walking around the block. We're talking about business, we're talking about changing our lifestyles, we're talking about what can we do to change the way we eat, all that. So that's what I'm doing personally. It helps, it has helped me, kakhulu. It has helped me kakhulu, especially with my boys, because I was worried, I was so worried about my kids. So I went and buy the 5-liter water bottles, and I fill those with the normal water from my tap. Then I'm using those to lift. I'm using the blocks, as you see. I'm using anything and everything, just to keep myself active and fit around the house, And fortunately for me, my boys has joined me. All of them now, it's a family thing. They have joined me. We're doing it as a family. We go out, we lift all of us, we lift the bricks. We do it as a family. So it really helped, because there's no excuse for you to just be a couch potato. So my thing, I just want to say to all of you people, let's embrace who we are, where we are coming from, because heritage is all about that, and instill it in our families, in our kids, and around us, and they must see that you are proudly African, and we are proud about that, Let's go and be active. Let's go and live a very positive, healthy life, and live to touch the next person. Don't just live for yourself, because it's all about, remember, we say the only way to defeat and to bridge the gap is when we do it collectively as a community. So make sure whatever you do, if you're thinking of exercising, you're thinking of think of your neighbor, think of the next person, think of your friend, think of your uncle who's obese, think of whoever that you do not want to lose in the near future because of health hazards issues. So that's my thing from you. Happy heritage. Happy heritage. Enjoy your roots, enjoy where you are coming from. We are proudly Africans.
Oh, wow. My friends, I think we all believe that was really amazing. Actually, Angie and Eric, you both agree with me as we're sitting here that I feel like I've been to Endulo once more, just for a minute. And I feel like I've been to our beautiful part of Nigeria now. I know exactly how rich and diverse that culture is. I even know about how many languages that are actually there, even their cultures. And I'm sure sitting out there, you also have got something that says, actually, let us agree. There is something that we can build together right now as we're sitting here. Just reaching out to our neighbors at home and doing something together as a community. Trying to do things that even though we can no longer go back to Endulo because we are no longer there, but we are here now. We can still play our bet. It's almost like playing our part is to, let's go walk, let's go run, let's go do some activities, remembering that our bodies were designed to move. May you please not forget to hydrate. Stay hydrated. Stay healthy. Comments are always welcome. Suggestions, ideas, anything that you might have in mind, drop a comment in there. Let's see, guys, as to what more can we dig into when it comes to this topic. Thank you so much.